Hello. So this week we watched the movie The Contender. It was a really good movie about a woman by the name Lane Hansen trying to become the vice president. And it definitely displayed a lot of different leadership qualities. So we'll start with one of the first ones, which I saw was a huge, huge quality throughout the whole movie, and that was the law of sacrifice. The law of sacrifice basically consists of the fact that you have to give up something to become something. The life is all about a give and take. You're constantly sacrificing things, whether it be a minuscule little sacrifice or whether it be something huge. So Lane Hansen is trying to become vice president, and a guy by the name of Runyon actually attempts to take that away from her. He's trying to find dirt on her, anything to get her to become get out of the potential candidacy for vice presidency. So he searches and finds some dirt on her, which is what he thinks is the truth. Turns out it is a lie, but he basically claims that she was in the middle of a scandalous sex act when she was in college to join a sorority. And when Lane Hansen hears of this, she's kind of upset because she's like, this is my past. Nobody should judge me based on my past. I was a freshman in college, blah, blah. But what they don't realize is that she actually never even did the act. She just didn't want to go up there and fight against something when everybody already had a set idea in their head that she did it and that she's guilty and this and that. And in her mind, she thought, I'm going to win fair and square. I'm going to win even if these people think that I did this act when I was younger and this and that. So she definitely sacrifices her own pride, basically. She's being ripped apart on national television in front of a bunch of people for having done this and all the words going around, and she just sits and she takes it all. So I think that just really shows how selfless she is, and she really wants to be a vice president based on true intentions and purity. She doesn't want to have to enter into any lies, any scandals, any this and that. So she just sucks it up. She lets them blame her, and she basically diffuses it all and steps away from it all. And there's a point in the video where one of her, I believe it's her mother, actually says, you know what you have to do? You have to go up and you have to confront Runyon at the stand and tell him that his ex-wife or his wife is against abortion or had an abortion, and that if he's going to call you a baby killer, then he's actually the hypocrite in the situation, even though Runyon had no clue that his wife had done this. And so she goes in and she gets interrogated, and they do basically call her a baby killer, yet she remains silent. She doesn't even rat Runyon out because she doesn't want to enter into all of that sticky situation and that mess, which I think is very selfless on her part because she could have easily used that to her advantage to get her further, but she chooses to win fair and square in the vice presidency, and I think that's really, really cool to see. Moving on, resolving conflicts. Definitely big in this movie. There's so much conflict going on throughout the movie. Everyone's on edge. Everyone's kind of cutthroat with each other. And I took the quote, people need to feel that you care and have work to provide them with a chance to share their perspective and be heard in the conversation. Now, this is so true with anything, with relationships, with friendships, with work, anything at all. You need to be able to listen to somebody else's perspective and have that person be recognized and known. So again, going back to the whole situation with Runyon interrogating Lane Hansen, he is basically forming all of these conflicts on all of these issues, and instead of Lane Hansen completely battling back and not even listening to his perspective, she understands, she hears the conversation, and she is able to diffuse the conflict through a calm and collected manner, instead of going back and just shouting and blaming him for other things and stuff like that. She just remains cool. So I think that's really cool to see. Some people deal with conflicts in very different ways. Some people freak out, others remain calm, but I think it's just important that you always listen to the other person's perspective, take yourself out of your shoes, and take it one step at a time. Moving on to teamwork. Definitely a big theme in this movie. As you can see, President Jackson Evans, he definitely forms a team within his office to try and make Lane Hansen become vice president, because there is another candidate in the beginning of the movie. His name is Hathaway, and he, what they find out later on, actually sets up a scheme where some lady was going to drive off of the cliff and he's going to help to save her. And he pays her to do this, to make him look like he is the best candidate for this position. But what they don't realize is that he actually ends up, or she ends up drowning. And he didn't mean for her to die. So they realize that he paid her off to go and do this, and it immediately takes him out of the running. Now, that leaves Lane Hansen at the very end. But throughout the entire vice presidency, it's going back and forth, like the trying to choose who the good candidate should be. It goes back and forth between them. And it's just funny how Evans really pulls together a team and really pushes for Lane Hansen. Everyone's working together. Nobody has an ulterior motive in that group, in that small-knit group. And when she's blamed for the scandalous acts and all that, he's there to completely just push and move forward and get Lane going on the right track. And I think what's important here is what I said, what I found in this quote: members of a team intentionally invest time in other members of the team. And as the team develops, members tap into their own talents without being asked. He basically is driving and investing all this time in Lane Hansen to become a member of their huge team. And through that, all of the people that are working behind him push and do make her become vice president. So it's cool because you can see people stepping outside of their shoes and becoming selfless and actually pushing for one common goal, which is to make Hansen vice president. So I thought that was very cool to see. And moving on to the final slide, prioritizing. There's 3 R's in prioritizing. 1 is what is required. 2, what gives the greatest return. And 3, what brings the greatest reward. And now I said here, prioritizing what's important in life and success is crucial within leadership amongst a group of people. And basically what I mean by that is when you're setting out for a goal in leadership, you need to prioritize what you want and what you need and how you're going to achieve that goal, who you're going to use to get to that goal. You have to prioritize everything, and you have to see what's most important in that instant and what's going to give you the best return. So I thought it was cool within the movie because Evans really prioritizes Hansen as being his future vice president. So he goes through and does anything to make sure that she stays. And I think that's very cool to see. And as far as Hansen goes and prioritizing, she looks at the fact that although she's being charged for sex scandals and this, that, and everything else, and everyone's using and bad-mouthing her and stuff, she really prioritizes what's important, and that's that she could potentially become a vice president, and she has to develop relationships, good relationships with people, and develop a trust with everyone, with society. She has to develop a huge trust. So by her just sucking it up and taking all of the negative comments and not losing her cool and instead coming back and being very cool with everything, I think that shows that she's prioritizing what's really important in life. And as far as the 3 R's go, what is required, she knows exactly what's required of her, and I think she really fulfills all of her duties to make sure that she can be the best candidate possible for the position. And in return, she does get the greatest return. She gets the greatest reward for being a good person, for not lying, and for not starting and entering into tons of conflicts. You know, she's able to walk out of there being vice president. So I think that's very cool to see. Prioritizing is huge in leadership. You need to prioritize what is most important in life and then go and do it, especially when it comes to completing a goal. Alright, thank you for watching all of my movies over the past couple of weeks. I hope to see you guys soon.